Hi there, my name's Vince from mymakevince.com, and in this video today we're going to be doing another voice box from a pull cord talking toy. Now you might remember Orinoco, he's a Womble of Wimbledon, from a video I did where I fixed up him, Mickey Mouse and also Rupert the Bear. Rupert the Bear got sent back to its original owner. Well, Martin is the guy that helped me out when I made such a mess of Andy Pandy in the challenge I did with Steve from Tronics Fix, the toy challenge, the eBay toy challenge, whenever that was, a year or so ago. And when Martin seen the video where I fixed up him, Mickey Mouse and Rupert the Bear, he said that did I want him to make me a hat and also a bag. And I thought, well, come on, yes. I mean, like, he didn't come with a scarf or anything. I managed that myself, but I'd never be able to do a hat like that. Look how good he looks. So what he did is, when he sent those along here, he also sent this along, because this is different than a normal Mattel voice box. So he wanted me to take a look at it and see if I could repair it. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So let's get this onto the blue mat and see if we can fix it. This is apparently from Donald Duck, so it'll be quite interesting to see it talking again at the end, if I can fix it. He knows there's a very good chance I might end up doing an Andy Pandy on it and completely ruining it, but that is the risk that he is willing to take. So let's get started. Okay, so here it is. Now, I believe it's already been taken apart. Let me just show you. Oh yes, it has, right. Let me just show you that's not working. Yeah, so you can see at the very end it does sound like it's trying to say something, but it's just spinning too quick. This string should go in a lot slower. Yeah, just to show you how it should work. Let me get my Womble. If I was to pull the string on the Womble, look how slow it goes in.
We Wombles are really very friendly.
Yeah.
Womble up your toys when you finish playing.
So there's something in there called, I don't know about this one, but normally you have something called, I think it's a governor or a regulator, and it slows it down. So it's like a big weight that as it starts to spin, spreads out, hits against the plastic with some kind of felt pads, slows it down so it spins nice and slowly. Because when you pull this out, all you're doing is you're basically tensioning up a spring that wants to release all its energy straight away. But by having the regulator or the governor in it, it stops it from releasing it all within 1 second. So it takes a few seconds. And there is an actual record in here with a needle that goes up to like a cone amplifier that makes the sounds. That actually sounded quite professional. It actually sounded like I might have known what I'm talking about. Believe it or not, I've spent quite a lot of time on these between the Andy Pandy one and something else. Right, okay, so this is cardboard, but that is actually, listen, look how loud that is. It's using that as the amplifier. So this thing here must move up and down. Yes, it does. There we go. This must be... Oh, here's the needle here. Look. The needle's here. Hold on now. How on earth is this going to work? The needle's here. Can you see? Just here. So that moves up and down, which hits this. But there's no record here. What's going on? That is really, really weird. And there's also, Martin said that this plastic thing came off the inside. So I wonder where this would go, or would that just sit over here like that to stop the spring from popping out? Do you know what? This is weird. Right, okay, there's some of you who can already work out what's going on. So look, this is on a spring here. So that's loose there. That's on a spring, so that's made to move up and down. That definitely to me looks like a needle. But why is the needle just on plastic? Why is there no record here? So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this off. Oh, I can see. Look, there's grooves. How does that work? Look in here, there's tiny grooves in each of these slots. So does the needle kind of vibrate, like start at the top and work its way to the bottom as it goes into each one? So let's count how many holes there are. One. So let's start at 12 o'clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so there's 12 holes. And now let's see. I did get a note in here with the sayings that he will say, and it does say, look at this. it says here, I say 12 different phrases in sequence. Now that's quite important because with Mickey Mouse and the Womble and pretty much all the others, when you pull the string, it's just random. They might well say 11 things, but it could say the same thing 4 times in a row. It's wherever the needle ends up on the record after you let go of it. So let's see if there's 12 sayings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we're getting somewhere. Wow. Now this is, for me, this is quite interesting because beforehand it was just a record, like a normal record with a needle, and the whole record would spin and then the needle would just produce the sound. But what's happening here is much different. So let me zoom right in to show you those grooves. Right, so if you have a look now, look, they are grooves there, aren't they? And can you see that there's, you can actually see sort of undulations on them, you know, they're different. So that's going to create a different sound when the needle goes across it. But what I don't understand is, I fully know how a record player, not fully know, but I know how a record player works. The needle goes in the groove. If you looked at the side profile, the groove would be like a mountain and the needle's bouncing up and down that mountain, which is creating, which is the song, which is the vibrations. But how can a needle go like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? Unless when we pull this, let's see what happens. Ah, this is interesting. Right, okay, well, let me zoom out. I've shown you the grooves now. You can see they're there. Let's go to another one. And can you see the grooves are in a different, they look different. Can you see like dot, 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 dot down the bottom? And that one looks different. So these are all, I'm sure, near enough certain that they're the different sayings. Now I'm wondering whether when you pull the string it doesn't spin, it just vibrates left and right. Because look, can you see? It's kind of just moving like that, isn't it? Yes, can you see that? And then it moves on to the next one. Look. God, this is clever. Right, hold on now. How on earth does this work? So we're in this one here, which is one of the ones near the very middle. So let's put it. And then it moves on to the next one, even though it did miss that one ever so slightly. Wow. How is that going to work? Well, I'm pretty certain that that just slots there. I don't think that's anything too important. Then now, do you know what's amazing? Look, you can probably tell by my voice. How amazing is this? So yes, it's just a pull string off a toy that not many people are going to be interested in, but you've got to admit, forget about the toy itself. This here is interesting. And look, it's mechanical. There's no batteries or anything. However this works is all mechanical. And personally, I find this fascinating. Wow. Okay, well what we're going to have to do is, I think we've sort of agreed that that's how it's making the sound, and it's vibrating left and right, which is going to be putting the needle, you know, cross whichever way, up and down like that. Wow, how is this even jumping to the next one? It must be the grooves along here. Really, you need to watch this in slow motion. No, so when I do it slow, it doesn't work. So this moves along until the ends. Okay, so when I let go now, this is going to kick up. And it hits against there, and then it comes down again at the end. Wow, this is pretty interesting. Now, I'm wondering, that looks like it's riveted on there, so I'm going to struggle. How am I going to get this off? Because yes, I know I can take that off, but I wonder, hopefully I'll be able to lift this away from it. Okay, look, I mean, I'm going to do my best not to break it, but remember, I've never repaired one of these before. I've never seen it, I've never watched a video on it before, so this is really just going to be kind of using common sense. Whether I have common sense or not, I've got a bit of common sense, but as you all know, I make silly mistakes sometimes in the video, but they're only silly after the event. To me, I don't try and make a silly mistake, so I'm going to do my best not to break it. So to begin with, I'm just going to unhook that spring. Right, so that's fine. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to try to ease this off, which looks slightly rusted, but that's not a problem. And I mean, I haven't got any specialist tools to get this off, so what I'm going to do is just get a screwdriver under each side and just try to, you know, lever it back and forth like this until it pops off. Actually, I'm not going to use a screwdriver. I think I'm going to use these. These might be better. They might cause less damage. So I'm going to use the wide ones. I'm just slightly worried that when I pull this off, if the spring mechanism sort of like springs out at me, then I'm really going to struggle, because this is this must be under some sort of tension in here, and I haven't got another one to copy. Right, let's go. Let's just start this side. One of those things I'm not too sure how much force to use on it. Well, okay, I've got to be careful. Is that start? No, okay. I thought it was starting to break there, but it's not. I think it's just the line off rust. Let me zoom in a bit more. Right, it's definitely getting a bit looser, so I'm just going to keep working my way around like this. I think I'm going to have to use both sides, you know. The only other thing is, if I was to get something very small, put it in here and try to lever out, but I don't know if that's gonna work or not. Yes, excellent, brilliant. Okay, I'm pretty sure I will be able to use that again. I didn't cause any damage to it or anything like that. If it doesn't feel strong when I put it on, I can always use pliers to kind of push that in a little bit to make all these just go in a fraction of a millimetre, but I think that's going to be fine when I put that on. And there is there a little groove? Okay, I thought there might be a groove in there that it fits in, but I don't think there is. That's just a little bit of wear, so it looks like it is just friction. So now I have to, do I have to take this bit off here? I think I do. Right, if I do that, is this going to spring? This is under, yeah, this is all under load. Okay, this is going to be very awkward. Do I take it out from here, I wonder? No, I think I do have to take this off. Hope this doesn't snap now. Do you know what the problem I've got is, it wants to come up straight and it can't come up straight because this is stopping it. So I think, I wonder what happens if I pull this. See if this goes all the way over here, I wonder. No, because that stops it there. And I can't take this bit off here. I wonder, see, this is all moulded. That's riveted there. And that's the idea is, am I supposed to push this through? Could that be an option? I'm wary that this is going to snap because it's joined here or held in place there. Let me try to ease it up more and more. It's working its way up higher, but it's struggling to come over that final little bit. Now, when I take this off, there's all this. It's gonna just unspring, isn't it? I wonder if I keep my finger there, would that stop it? Here we go. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. Right, here we go. It's done. Right, let's see now how what's going to happen. Okay, that's all right. That's not actually going anywhere. Right, so far so good. So now it's. I wonder, can I get that? Yes, I can. I can get that over there. So that is now. Oh, that's out. I don't really know how that hooked on there. I think that just went that side off the spring. I think. That side of the string, sorry. So now, do I have to release the tension completely? I would say I do. I would say I have to release the tension from this. So I think I am going to undo this string and let it... Do I let it go or not? So I have to get to the inside bit. Let's have a little look. Am I even going to be able to get this out because of these here? So I think how it's made in the factory, maybe this thing's sort of punched in after it's all set up. I'm not sure. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Right. Right, okay. That's that. This is the record. So the record is a continuous normal record. So it's not doing what I'm thinking it's doing. They've just done this to make it do the 12 sequence, so it's not so random as the older ones. This way you're always going to get a different saying, aren't you? And you're always going to get a different... Look. It's making sense now. This is just a bog standard record with 12 sayings on it. So the outer revolution will do, for example, the first saying. Then that will be the second, the third, fourth, and maybe the 12th saying would be on the inside. And have a look here. This is just purely a clever way of making it jump to the next saying, because with this mechanism here, the way this thing works, kicking it back in at the end, it's always going to move to the next one. So can you see, this is the one on the inner one of the record, and this is the one on the outer. So for example, this would be 12, saying number 12, 11 slightly in, 10, 9, and we're just working our way, spiraling inwards. Well, no, okay, not from there to there, because these are very similar, but can you see that they are, each of them has got a different place in the record, because this is the middle here, working our way out. So every one of these are different grooves. So that's clever. So basically this is just a bog standard record like normal with, I presume this is like the rubber belt here which goes around here. There's going to be a governor under here if I can get to it. This is the thing that makes it do in sequence, and that's the important part of this, rather than just random, because like I said with the Womble and Mickey Mouse and all the others, if I put it 12 times, it's unlikely I'm going to get 12 different sayings. I will probably get 6 or 7 different sayings with repeats of some of them. But that's what makes it quite exciting, is that each time you don't know what's going to happen, and sometimes it can say the same thing 4 times. Sometime in a row, and sometimes the 12th saying might never really happen. You could be doing it for 20 minutes. With this one, in a way, it makes it slightly more boring, because you're always going to know the next saying in sequence. So do you know what? If I was the manufacturer of this back then, I can see why they've done this, because people might have thought, oh, my toy's broken, it only says 3 sayings. But I think it's taken a slight element of surprise out of it, but still a very clever design. So the needle doesn't move forward and back like that, it does just work its way out, work its way round. So now let's have a look in here. So we've got the belt is here, so let's unhook this belt. So it doesn't look like the belt's broken. That belt looks very strong. This is the record, so I've got to be very careful with this. We have a little spring here, which I'm not sure what that is for. Oh, that must be to sort of hook it when you're winding it, to stop it unspringing or something. Okay, so that's not too sure what that's about at the moment. Why is the regulator, why is it just kind of all going in one go? So there is a big spring down inside here. I don't really want to get involved in that, if I'm honest. So we have a little copper washer. Again, I don't know what that's for, but the string goes round here. Okay, the string goes round there. Now Martin would like the string replaced, so I am going to somehow have to... I can see how I undo it. If I took this out, the whole spring would come out, but that's going to take me a long time to try to wind it. This is the regulator thing that I was talking about. The only thing is, it all looks like it's glued into place, which is annoying. Do you know what I think it is? I think the pads here have just worn. There's a pad here. I think the regulator's not doing its job properly. That's what I think. Those pads should shoot out and hit against it, and they're not. But it's not going to do it now, of course, because I haven't got the rubber belt on it. Unless, of course, it's dirt. Unless the rubber belt could be slipping. That is a possibility. But these are definitely not as serviceable as the older ones. Definitely not, because it's all glued into place. Right, I really ideally need to get this off. Okay, there's movement there, but there's not this side because it's glued. I wonder, is there any way I can break that seal? I've got a feeling this will probably snap. But I have to get it, even really to. I mean, I could clean the belt, but I really need to get in there. There might be a way I can change the string and stuff without unraveling this. I'm not too sure how at the moment, but I don't believe that the problem's anything to do with here. I think the problem is all to do with here. So how am I going to break the seal here? This really is glued. This side's come loose though. Maybe if I could work along from this side, I could start to I could try to, you know, break it as I go along. The only problem is I've got little spindles and stuff coming up here, and they're going to snap really easy. Right, see, this is where you sort of need to make a decision, and the decision could be wrong. I could try and clean the belt, because maybe the belt's slipping. I could try to just get a bit of IPA in here on the wall and try to clean it. It might be kind of dust or grime or something, it's unlikely, or a bit of grease on the wall in there, in which case then the regulator's not doing its, or the speed governor is not doing its job. But really I need to kind of look at it, because I've got a feeling that those pads are going to have gone. Judging by the other toys I've done in the past, sometimes those pads need replacing. And that's the reason why it's the pads that hit against this wall here to slow it down. Yeah, because it causes friction. And if those pads are worn or gone smooth or fallen off, then there's nothing to slow it down. So when you pull the string and let it go, it just spins. It needs the pads to slow it down, to act like a brake. I think I'm just going to try to scrape along the wall here, because I can always use the plastic welding pen, the UV light pen, to put it back on at the ends. Try a sharp blade instead. Try to put some IPA on it. I don't think it's going to make any difference, but I know when you use a hot glue gun, the IPA does help it lift off. I mean, it really does work with hot glue gun, but I know this isn't hot glue gun, but I'm wondering if it would break down the plastic, break it down ever so slightly. I think it's highly unlikely. If you know how to kind of remove glue, maybe add that to the comments, because I'm sure if people are doing different toys, like maybe Star Wars figures and stuff, they're all going to be glued together. So maybe there's products out there that you can use. See, this isn't my. Remember, I'm just kind of fumbling my way through this. So other people would probably know now. They probably have the right products to break the seals here. But obviously, I haven't. Right, I don't really want to put any more than that on. Yes, it does work. Wow, the IPA's worked. Let's try this one here. I'm going to put some more on. That one came off very easy, and it was stuck rock solid before. Unless it was just coincidence, but I doubt it. Right, maybe it was just coincidence, I don't know. We've got 2 of them now done, that's really good. That one actually looks like it's broken from the thing. Hold on now. Let's see what's happening here. Come on, it should come now. So close. Now I think these 2 are going to break on this side, but it doesn't matter because I can glue them in place anyway. That's not such a big deal. There we go. Okay, so that one and that one's snapped, you can see, but these 2 are intact and I can glue it all the way around the edge. So that is actually okay. Really, really happy with how that went. I'm just going to wipe up the IPA before it causes any damage to the plastic or the rubber or anything like that. That belt as well looks pretty good. There is a slight bit of a kink in it, so I'll try to get that out. If not, what I could do is I could possibly put that in a pan of boiling water, see if that does the trick. Because if I put it in there, sometimes if you put it in there for like I think it's about 5 to 8 minutes, it can kind of shrink it a little bit back to its original size. As you see, by me gluing it, it means that it's probably just going to, when it fails again in another 10 years or however long it's going to take, or with one of my repairs it might only last a few weeks, then it means that it's just going to be kind of impossible to get back into it again. Right, let's take this out and see what we're dealing with. Yep, that's just a normal governor. Do you know what? Those pads are on here. I wonder whether they just need to be... Oh, there you go, that's off. That's off. So I'm going to have to put some new pads on here. This one's on though. Not very well. Right, so you can see what happens. This moves out as it spins faster. It moves out, and the pads here hit against this bit here, which slows it down. It gives a good opportunity to grease it all up as well. So you can see the old grease there. Yep. Looking a bit cleaner in there. And I also took the grease off here as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I've got any pads left over from before, because I'm pretty sure when I did the last lot of toys that Martin gave me felt sheets, so I should be able to get some new pads on here. So I found the felts, and it looks to be about the same thickness as this. I don't know how flattened this has got over the years, but I'm hoping that will work. Now to glue it, I can't use something like super glue because it will just soak into here and not do its job properly. So I'm going to use this contact adhesive. And this stuff kind of remains rubbery, so I'm hoping it won't just soak straight into here and then just dry out. So I'm hoping that this will be the stuff to use. This is what I used before and it seemed to be okay. Now when it comes to the rubber belt, this does not look ideal. There's definitely a kink in this that I'm not happy about, probably because it's been sat like that for ages, so I think I am going to boil this to try to get it back into shape. These are the normal belts that come with the Mattel toys, because Martin sent me this when I did the last ones, and you can see that these ones are a lot bigger. Now I tried to get an internal diameter, but it's hard because it's it's flexible, so I can't really measure it. I think it's roughly about 72 millimeters. You see there, 71 millimeters. And when I do it there, it doesn't seem to be deforming it too much. So I'm thinking it's about round about 72. And the actual thickness of it is looks to be about maybe 1.5, which I think is probably going to be the same as this. Yeah. So they seem to be the same thickness, it's just that this one is a lot bigger. I don't know whether this toy is newer or older. If you have a look there, you can see US patent and other patents and stuff. So I don't know the age of this one. Some sort of code there. But when it comes to that there, it looks old, doesn't it? But I don't know, would that be from the... maybe somebody would know by looking at that. They might get an idea of how old this toy is. So I'm thinking that it's newer than the normal. I'm thinking it's newer than the normal Mattel voice box, this. Unless, of course, oh, see, this is a Walt Disney toy. Maybe the whole point is that this is not Mattel, so maybe they couldn't copy the Mattel design, so they come up with their own one. I really don't know. I'm not sure. If you know anything about these, add it down to the comments, because I'm sure it's going to be interesting reading for other people watching this video. Right, so what I'm going to be working on now is cutting out tiny bits of felt and sticking them onto this thing here, and I'm just going to use the sizes of these ones here as a guide. Put it on there. I'm just going to wait for it to go tacky. You've got to leave it about 4 minutes or so before you stick it on there. Now I'm slightly worried because Martin would like the string changed over, hence the reason he gave me the string here, because he said he had to cut it to take it off the toy. So you see this here, this is just like a special knot that you do. But normally with the Mattel ones, you can feed the new string through. It's a bit fiddly, but you feed it through a side bit of the spindle, this thing that spins. But with this, if you have a look, let me just take it all the way out and put the lock-in, these lock-in forcep things on it. There. Right, if you have a look, where is it now? See, the string joins in there, but it goes through a groove at the bottom. So if you have a look right in here, it's hard to see because it's covered by the string, but there's a little groove you can see at the bottom there that the string slots into. So on the other one, you pass it through a couple of holes and tie a knot in it, so it's easier to do. But with this one, I'm going to have to take it all out. When I take it all out, that spring is going to go absolutely crazy. But I haven't really got an option. So it's a shame, because right now when I stick those on, it might well be working, and by me changing the string I might end up breaking it. But saying that, when I pull it all the way out to there, it's kind of stopped before the spring has actually unwound. So I think what I need to do is take it out, let the spring go quite crazy, wind it up again, and then basically do it till the spring won't go anymore, and just put one revolution. That's there at the moment, and I think then that should be right, because otherwise when you mess around with the spring, it either goes too fast or too slow, so it's not ideal. I'm just going to see if this is tacky. Yeah, that feels tacky now, so let's stick these on. And I have to leave them then. Right, so that's that one. Doesn't say on the instructions how long to leave it. Well, I think that will do. I'm going to leave them now. It's a lovely design, isn't it, that? And it's sprung so much, I would have thought that it wouldn't have had the speed to make it go out, but it must do. It must work. It mustn't take much spinning to get these weights to go out, because I suppose these weights are heavier than the middle bit, so they want to throw themselves outwards. It's quite clever. It'd be a nice toy to see in slow motion, to see when it starts picking up speed, these things moving out ever so slightly. Right, okay, let's see what's going on with this now. So I'm going to have to cut the string here. Let's put this on it so it doesn't go spinning really, really fast and end up across the room somewhere. That's not going to work there, is it? What am I doing? Right, so I have to do that here. Right, let's chop it. Point of no return now. Have to do it. Right, I'm going to hold the string, take the forcep off, and let's try to. How am I going to do this? Just let it unravel, I suppose, like that. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. This is just going to go and go and go, isn't it? There we go. Really, I need it to fill up the hole rather than end up coming out here. Let's tighten it up again. wonder, can I just take that off now? No, because the spring's on it there, isn't it? The spring is just going to unravel completely. I just want to make sure it doesn't get me in the eye. Oh, here we go. No, it stayed down there. It did stay down there. Right, maybe I should get some... I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Look, I'm just going to put this right the way across the room, so if it does unravel, it's not going to hit me, and I'm going to put a jumper on top of it. There we go. Right, so now the jumper's on it, so it's not going to affect me. So what I'm going to do now is, let's see how this bit goes in. Oh, look at that. Just a knot in there, like so. Yeah? Right, so let's just replicate that. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. String's plenty long, so I'm going to leave it long, and then Martin can cut it down to size after he's installed it in the toy. Oh, I see now. I wasn't looking closely enough. There's a hole down the very, very bottom, so I was just putting the string in here, but if you look, there's actually a hole down the very bottom, and that's where the string goes, and then the other part goes in here. The spring fills up this part. That's fine. Okay, that makes more sense now. Yeah, so now you can see the string is in that little hole, the knot. Just want to clean up the dirt in here. There you go. Now that goes right the way in there. I'm happy with that. You can see it fills up that, and it lies flush with the actual cylinder part. Yeah? Right, let's pass the string through here. And now let's start winding it up. Right, this is where it's going to take quite a lot of trial and error, because I have to keep wrapping it round. And remember, when I had it fully pulled out, there was one revolution of string left when the spring wouldn't go anymore. So let's just try that now. Oh, no, that's gone completely wrong. Hold on. Okay, so now it won't go any more. Yeah, and I've run out of string, you see, so I need to wind some more on it, I think. No, I need to wind up the string more, don't I? Wind up the spring more. Right, I'm getting there. There's a lot of tension there, you know. Okay, right. That's the spring is as tight as it will go now. So let's undo this completely and we'll put just one revolution on it. Right, so that's like it is now. So let's put, which way do I go round? Is it this way? I think it is. So let's go round this way. Round this way. There. Okay, so that's done up full, and yet there's still, if you pull the string as hard as you can. Oh no, it still goes more. Right, let's put one on it now. It's amazing the amount of pressure in this. Or the amount of tension, I should say. Right, there you go. Okay, so it won't go any more now. That's perfect, and that is one revolution like it was before. So now, if I let that go, so how am I going to... I need to put the thing on the end of it, don't I? So I need to put this thing here. And I need to just guesstimate roughly where to put the knot, but I won't actually cut off the excess, so then Martin can still sort it out. So that went round here, let's say once, so it's about there. So roughly, this is just all rough. So it was around here before, so if I tie the knot roughly around here, but leave this on it, then he can change it himself to where he wants it to be. So I'm just going to put that on it there a minute. I'm just going to cut off the old knot. Now, there is a special way of doing this knot, so I need to quickly look that up. Right, because this knot was so hard to do, I've kind of lost my bearings of where I am. Not even sure if I've done that right or not. Yeah, I think it might be it. Yeah, that's it. So you can see there's no sort of cutting involved there. So then you can trim it here. I probably have done that too tight. Let me measure against his one again. Roughly about there. Out here, out here. Oh no, I have added a good sort of 5 inches onto it. Right, so now if I undo this bit here, I wonder, is that just going to go back in? Yes it is, look, all the way to there. Brilliant. Look. Oh no. I need that to keep in place. Right, so let's keep it down. Yeah, I think that's going to work, look. Yeah, I think that will be okay. Right, so now, what do we have to do now? I wonder if that governor is going to be good enough. We have to put grease on, don't we? So we've got to put a bit of grease here on top of the spindle. I might even, because this spins on here, I might even lift this up a little bit and put a bit of grease on here to work its way, because this is the thing that's constantly turning here. So I'm going to grease up those little parts here. Right, this is what I'm going to be using. You see the synthetic grease here. So I don't want to put loads on because I don't want it to get on the record. So I'm just going to be putting a tiny bit in this hole down here, because this is where the governor is going to be sitting. There you go. So I've filled up that little hole there. And now let's try to put a little bit on this axle here. And then I'm going to move the plastic thing up and down a bit, and hopefully it will work its way in. I should have done this before putting it together. Do you know what? I'm going to put quite a bit on, then I can wipe it off afterwards. Because I only want it to get into the actual... You know, I want it to spread inside this white plastic nylon thing. Right, okay, well that's going to have helped a tiny bit, so let's now wipe the grease off there. Right, so that's that. I think this should be good enough now. That should have glued. Yeah, hopefully it'll be okay. So let's pop this in this way round. Okay, so that's that bit there. Now I need to put the grease on the top of this bit here. But before I do that, I think I'm going to... look, let me pop this in a pan of boiling water, I think. Or should I leave it? Maybe it's just got a kink in it because it's been just sat there for so long. That kink will probably go. You know, for example, every time the toy stops now, it's going to be in a different place. Maybe I should just try it as it is now rather than... because if I boil it, you never know, it might end up disintegrating or something. So let's put the rubber around... let's put the rubber around that bit. I just want to clean up there. No, that's not dirt. Right, so put this on here. So that's going to stop that string from coming off. Do I have to add any grease to that or not? I suppose... so this is like a clutch thing, isn't it? Which is going to... should I add a bit of grease in there? Is that not going to do anything? I suppose this does have to move independently of this, doesn't it? So maybe I should just put a tiny bit in. I won't put much. Just like that. Right, so let's pop this on here. There we go. The record itself looks nice and clean. Yeah, looks good. So let's pop that on there, like that. And now we need to get the tweezers, make sure there's no grease or glue or anything on them, and then I'm going to get the rubber belt and put it round the governor. There we go, like that. Right, so far so good. Now we have to put this back on, but I'm going to have to glue it. So that's going to go on here, but I've got to make sure that that hole goes on there. So I need to fill this with grease. Just like that. And I don't think anything else needs greasing, because I don't think that needs greasing on top of there, because there wasn't any grease there originally. I think really it's only the governor part that does look like it needs a bit of grease on it. Now I'm really unsure what to do about this thing in regards to gluing it back, because unfortunately once I glue it back it's kind of permanent then, and let's say if that belt is wrong, or if there's a problem with something else, it's going to be very hard. So I think to begin with I won't glue it just yet. Let's just see if it's going to work. So I've got to try to place this on here and on there at the same time. Amazingly, that went first time. Right, now let's place this on. There, so that's going to go into the grooves. And now this thing, that goes in down. That goes in there. Oh no, it doesn't. It has to go under that. There, so it has to go under that bit there. Now we've got to stretch the spring all the way up here. Pop that on there. Oh, I think that thing's popped out. No, I have to pop this off. There we go. We have to remember to put that side off this string, don't we? So we have to give ourselves a bit of slack. This is quite fiddly, so that has to go under here. That's it. Then on there, and I think that has to go that side off the spring. So when the spring gets pulled, it lifts this out of the way. Right, well I suppose we'll just temporarily put it back together just to see if it works. I'm going to put a bit of sellotape on here because you can see there was tape on here. Yeah, because otherwise that might end up damaging the cardboard. It's a very cheap way of doing it. On the Mattel ones, it's like a thin bit of plastic. Let's get some sellotape. Okay, so I've got some sellotape. Let's just stick that on. There, like that. Right, now I think, see, I don't know how much pressure this part here is going to be under, because I think this is going to close down on top of it, but just to make sure it doesn't pop out when it's under strain. I think what I'm going to do is I've got this plastic welding pen here. I am just going to put a few drops on the way around, and if it works I can put more around it, and I've got a feeling that this would be easier to break in the future than if I was to use something like super glue. So really I should be putting some underneath there, but then it's going to be hard to come off. I know it's not the best, I should be putting them underneath all the posts, but I am just going to put it around the edge here because it should still hold, and then in the future somebody can just like scratch it to take it off again. Right, so I haven't put much on, so I will be able to get to that again if I need to in a couple of minutes. So now let's put the light on that and set it. Then if it works I can go and I can put a proper bead all the way along. Right, okay. Now this also needs to go on, but I don't want to put that on just yet. I think what I'm going to do is, rather than put this on, let me just pull it out gently and see what's gonna happen. So I'm going to put a little bit of pressure here. Excellent. Did you see that? It went slow. Right, I'm happy to put this on here now and put the top on and see if we have anything. Well, I'll tell you what, my string's gone. I didn't do the right knot. Uh-oh. Get the forceps quick. Didn't do the right knot on that, did I? Let's try that again. Oh, I've done it again, but I don't even know if that's the right knot. Right, here we go. What do you reckon? Yes or no? Now, in the past I have not had much success with these on the first time, but let's see. Oh no! Right, well it's definitely going in slow, so that's correct. Can't be anything too major now. Ah, this has to go under here. This must have to go under this here, because it's not making... Is it making contact? No, it should be making contact. Why is that not making contact? Maybe when I do this... Ah, okay, I've got... Let's give it a few more goes. Pretty sure, I've got to watch the video back, I'm pretty sure that should be on top. Right, that's definitely in its home. No. Oh well, this is normally the case with when I mess around with these. So let's see if we can work out what's happening here. So we pull this. Right, and that's going around crazy everywhere. Hold on. Oh no, it shouldn't be doing that. That should stay... No, something's wrong. This should stay still with just this in its groove. It should be just a record that's moving, not this. I'm wondering if this goes under here. No, that's not going to be able to go under there. Could this be bent? This has to make contact with in here. And this should only move at the last minute. I wonder, has that got bent? Let me try and straighten that up. That's definitely not right. That should stay in here. That's what it should do. You see? Did you hear that? I've obviously put it back together wrong. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch back the video. It's amazing how you forget. I'm going to watch back the thing when I did earlier and see how this was set up originally. I think I'm definitely close. It's just what's happening is this thing's spinning round and it shouldn't be. Unless, do you know what it could be? This thing might be on too tight. It could be as simple as that. Let me try to loosen this up a bit. Let's just try it now. I don't know if I have loosened it up at all. Okay, getting better. Okay, obviously it's not great, but it's starting to do something. Okay, there you go. That is actually... Okay, the mechanism seems to be working. So now, could it be because this looks a little bit bent? This all looks a bit bent. I think this might be an Andy Pandy Mark II. Let's loosen up more. Right, do you know what it might be? It might be pulling in too quick because I might have the speed wrong on it. Okay, it's definitely starting to get there. Starting to get there. Right, to me it sounds like it's putting in too quick. So if it's putting in too quick, it means I've got too much... What does that mean? I think I've probably got too much tension on the spring. Have I? Problem is, on the Mattel ones I knew how you could unwind the spring, but I don't know how you can unwind the spring on this one. Or maybe it's not being pressed down enough. Do you know what I mean? Maybe this needs to be pressed down more. No, that sounds awful. Thing is, this arm here should be perfectly straight. Let's try to get it perfectly straight. Take all the bends out of it. Right, at this moment in time, I don't really know what to do, if I'm honest with you. So I think... The thing is, when I pulled the string out before, it worked, didn't it? I mean, sorry, when I pulled the string out fully, to me, there was still a revolution of string left, and the spring was fully wound, and that's exactly what I've done now. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to guesstimate again the length of the string, because there was just one revolution left like that. And this time I'm going to pull the string all the way out, and I'm going to put the lock-in forceps on where I think it should be. So let's see if that makes a difference. No, so it's too fast, isn't it? So now let's try to let it go in slower. No. No. Right, I think... Do you know what? I don't really know, if I'm honest with you. So I'm just going to be fast forwarding through this now, because otherwise the video, just like the other ones I've done in the past, will just go on forever. So you can see... I've kind of fixed it. What it is now it's just tweaking the settings, the spring, the length of string and stuff like that. Right now I don't know how to change the length of string on it, so I'm just going to take it apart again and see if I can work out what's what. And also, actually, what I'm going to do is I am going to watch the video back just to make sure that I've definitely put it back in the correct the correct way. Well, so I watched back the video. I've definitely got it in the right orientation. So all I can think of is it's something to do with the spring. But I remember, and looking back at the video, it's quite right. When I had that string fully pulled out, the spring wouldn't go anymore and there was still a revolution left on the string. The only thing I can think of is possibly, have I put the string around it the wrong way? So I'm going to take it apart again and see if that's the case. So I'll be just fast forwarding through all this. So I'm just going to get this all lined up again properly and see if it makes any difference. Right, it's getting in one hell of a tangle now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this opportunity to try and clean the spring a bit. Starting to struggle with this now. Oh, me. Do you know what? These are fine until you get involved with the springs, and these were exactly the same problems I had before with the other ones. And if it was the first time doing it, I'd have more patience. But you know, when you've done this time and time before, especially when you haven't had successful results with them, it kind of makes you want to give up on it quite easily. Right, the problem I've got now is, even though I have got the spring in here, I know it's come out now, the bit that attaches to the nylon spindle thing just keeps popping out. It doesn't seem to have any grip. So basically, you see this bit at the bottom here, it doesn't seem to be any different shape than it was before, but yet it just keeps popping out of the nylon bit every single time. So as soon as I try to put some tension on it, it just pops out. Now I'm not sure if I think the spring needs a certain amount of tension for it to grip in there in the first place. Right, so you can see now, that's in there, but yet, this time now, when I put this in to this bit here, watch, it just keeps popping out. So I'm only going to take out a tiny bit, just there, yeah? Put it in as much as it will go, which is there. Now I'm keeping the pressure on it, but you'll hear it will just click out. Right, keeping the pressure on, keeping the pressure on. No, see? As soon as I start to turn it, it comes out. So I wonder, has it kind of bent ever so slightly out of place or something? See, the problem is, with all this now, I'm still no closer to actually fixing it. Right now I'm just trying to get it back together, but I've still got to keep adjusting the spring or the string to try to get it to play properly. Right, okay, it's gripped this time, so let's work with it now. Well, okay, sounds a little bit better. It's not back together properly, because I haven't glued that bit there. But it's slightly more understandable. That spring is like it was before. I've double checked the video, so I don't want to mess with that spring anymore. I'm wondering if it's now all to do with this. Unless, of course, it could be to do with the pads on here. Maybe they need to be ever so slightly thicker or something, but I don't think so. String does seem to be going in slow. I really don't know. The problem with these is the same problem I had with the Andy Pandy. There's so many variables that it's how much time do you put into it, especially when you don't really know the size that this should be. But let's boil it and see what happens. Well, I've been boiling this now for 10 whole minutes and I can still see the kink in it. So I've boiled bands before for things like, you know, disc trays when they come in and out, and they've worked, but they've been very thin, while these here are actually quite thick. So I don't think this is going to make any difference whatsoever. I'll leave it in there for another 5 minutes, and then that will be 15 minutes. I really don't see the point of boiling it any more than that. Okay, so here it is. I don't think it's made any difference. I can still see the kink in it just here. So if it had shrunk, I would have thought it would have pulled the kink out, but still I will give it another go. What I'm going to do now that I've got this apart, the record, I'm just going to make sure that the grooves are nice and clean. I mean, it all looks very, very, very spotless. So I'm going to do this and then we'll put it back together and see if that makes any difference. Right, you know what, it is starting to get there. So look, and it is working in sequence. So the next thing is going to say, my girl is Daisy Duck. Right, listen to this. Okay, that didn't work. Right, let's try this one here now. I talk funny. Now listen, quack, quack, quack. No. I have fun with you. You're my best friends. Love you very much. It still seems quick, I think. Right, look, this isn't working. I'm not really getting anywhere here. I'm just going around in circles. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to take some revolutions out of the spring, which is probably going to end in heartache. But I don't really want to mess around with the needle and stuff if it's not that. I mean, it definitely is making some kind of sounds. Right, I've got something that resembles speech, but the problem I've got is the more I mess around with it, the more I'm kind of scratching up the record and stuff, so the speech is coming less and less clear. Now, what I've done is I've replaced the big belt with the small belt because I think that there might have been a slight little bit of play on this. I'm not sure, but there might have been. But by replacing it with the smaller belts, it's putting the governor much closer together to the actual wheel that spins here. So then it messes with all the kind of tension of the spring and everything. So you have to keep adding revolutions and taking revolutions to try and make it sound better. As well as that, what I've had to do is I've had to put a bit of a bend on this needle here because there's a serious amount of wobble on this record. So if you watch this now, right, it's not doing it properly because the lid's not on. But basically, it's not spinning smooth. It kind of spins like this. So what happens is it keeps skipping. It will like say a word and go wow wow wow, and it will keep going back on that same word. So it'll be like listen, 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 you know, instead of listen, quack quack quack, because it keeps playing the same bit again because it keeps jumping. So what I've done is I've put it at a slight angle, which puts a bit more pressure on this going down, which then basically makes it play more level. So I have got something that sounds like speech. The only problem is the action is not smooth pulling it out. Let me show you. So basically these are the sayings here. Let me zoom in. Okay, so it starts. I'm not sure where it's going to start, but you will see that it will sort of play one after another. So let me put it all the way out. One second now. Right, so we're at Mickey's birthday. Missed out parties? There you go, I'm hungry.
My best friend. You very much. Kiss.
Do you know what I might do? I might take it apart one last time and undo one revolution off string because it keeps missing out things like parties and, you know, G-am. Do you know what I mean? So I think I'm going to do that, and then I'm probably going to be calling it a day soon because really you need a proper belt. If you had the proper belt and if you wound it up completely like I showed at the very beginning of the video, it might be as simple as that. So right now I'm dealing with sort of too many different parameters and trying to make adjustments when it's non-standard. You know, there's a non-standard part in there now. I've got a different belt in there, so it's far from ideal. But saying that, it is doing something, and it wasn't doing that earlier. So I think that that is better to have, for example, you know, 2/3 of the sayings rather than nothing. What is that? This thing's starting to break here, this copper thing here. Look, it's starting to rip upwards and I'm not sure why. I don't know what's causing that. I flattened that last time and now it's gone again. Wow, that sounds pretty good.
Have fun.
Still missing out parties.
Gee, am I hungry.
Yes!
Play.
Brilliant. It's doing more now.
I'll have fun with you.
I think that's it.
You're my best friend. I love you very much. Give me a kiss.
Fantastic.
My girl is Daisy Duck.
Oh, this is amazing.
Hey, I'm Donald Duck.
Come on.
I talk funny. Listen. It's Mickey's birthday. Have fun.
Right, so it's just missing out parties. Sometimes it's hard to put
Am
out.
I hungry?
Wow, so it's missing out the beginner parties and sometimes G. That will do for me. I'm calling it a day on that. Right, so I need to put the top back on and glue this bit in here. Right, so that might be too tight. Wow, that sounds so good. Don't worry about the end bit because I have to put the string back to the right area. Right, that's brilliant. So now let's glue this bit in here, and I'm hoping it will stay. Right, now when it comes to closing up, I've glued up that bit there, but when it comes to this bit around here, you can see originally it was glued. I'm just going to tape it up with some electrical tape because I'm not sure what Martin wants to do with this. He might want to take it apart again himself, try to make it work better, or he might want to glue it himself, so I'm not too sure. So I'm just going to put this on for the time being. Right, okay, at long last I'm finished, and do you know what, I'm really happy with the results. So, the things I'm not happy about are the fact that I changed the string over, and now I've got the string quite grubby again, because you see I've been messing around, and you can see it's got sort of getting worn here already. Because I've been messing around with the spring so much, the spring has kind of like, it's metal, isn't it? So you're going to get your hands covered, and in doing that then it's ended up getting onto the string. It's okay, it's not dirty, but it doesn't look brand new. It looks like a toy that's been used a little bit. But it is actually working pretty much, I would say, pretty much as it should be. So it pulls out nice and easy, and then when you let it go, it says these sayings, and it does say them in order. Now I've left plenty of string here. Normally you would cut this here. You can see it pulls out this much, which looks to be about the right sort of amount. What Martin can do is he can basically do what he wants with this because he's got plenty of string here. But if you have a listen now, let's let go.
Am I hungry?
Right, so you can see that was G, am I hungry? And now let me just go through them all and then I'll finish the video.
Let us play.
Okay, let's play. So the next one is I have fun with you.
Fun with you.
Right, so that did miss out. That did miss out the I.
You're my best friend. I love you very much.
Okay, give me a kiss.
Give me a kiss.
This next one sounds really clear.
The girl is Daisy Duck.
Yeah, and now it goes to hi, I'm Donald Duck, so it goes back up to the top again.
Hi, I'm Donald Duck. I talk funny. Listen.
So that quack, 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 that's the only thing that sounds like Donald Duck. Everything else just sounds relatively normal, so it's a bit strange. I thought it would all sound like that, unless maybe before, did Donald Duck sound different? He did, as far as I know, he didn't though. I'm not young. I've seen Donald Duck many times, and he always sounds like that one there, that quack, quack, quack. He doesn't sound like the rest. So maybe it's been done like this so young kids can understand it, because Donald Duck is very, very hard to understand.
It's Mickey's birthday. Parties are fun.
Did you hear that? It did actually say parties, and now back to the beginning again.
Gee, am I hungry?
There you go, and it said, gee, am I hungry? So first time we did it, it just said, am I hungry? So sometimes it might take a bit of time to get it properly centered on that record. But I am really happy with how that's turned out. Again, it was hard, it definitely wasn't easy, but quite rewarding.
Let us play.
And you can see it sounds nice and clear and nice and loud as well, which is good. So hopefully Martin will be happy with that. It was interesting seeing that one there. So this is completely different than the Mattel one. So maybe that will actually come in handy for other people who take theirs apart and find that one there if they're not sure how, you know, what to do with it. They might have a better idea now because of, you know, me struggling through it all. So yeah, that's it. Will I be doing more talking toys? Well, I keep saying no, I'm never going to do more. But when I seen this one here, I thought it does look like a challenge because it's completely different than the last one. And I know people might not be into the talking toys, but you've got to give credit where credit's due. It is a clever piece of design. Well, I think it is anyway. And again, like I've said before with these, it's nice that they don't take batteries. So even if you're not into these toys, it's still nice to see these. So for example, I don't collect them, but I still like to see the insides of these. But this will probably be it now as far as the talking, these talk boxes are concerned, because I've done the Mattel one, I've seen this one inside out. What I might be interested in is, you know, more the electronic ones from maybe the 80s and stuff, like the Action Man and stuff, how they work, whether they're a mixture of record or whether it's just all on a microchip or not, I'm not too sure. But some of them definitely take batteries. So maybe in the future I might look at one of them. But for now, I think I've probably done what I need to do on these talking boxes. But I'm so happy that I ended up getting this working, because at one stage I thought I wasn't going to get it going. I hope now it keeps working okay. I hope I haven't put too much pressure on that record with that needle and eventually it will wear through the grooves. I'm thinking not, because it's vibrating against the cardboard, so I'm hoping the plastic of the record will be stronger than the cardboard. Do you know what I mean? If it's gonna give, I'm hoping the cardboard will give more than the actual plastic. But yeah, that's it.
I'll have fun with you.
Let's end on that. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more Trying to Fix videos. Take care. Bye now.